everyone. Welcome to the annual State of the City and my 10th State of the City address. And Eric, I think you need to adjust your camera. It looks like you need sinus surgery.
Oh, sorry about that. Let me see here. Okay, how's that? Is that better? Mayor, I can't hear you. Can you unmute?
How's that now? Can you hear me?
Well, yeah, but you might have put the doggy filter on your camera. You might want to fix that too.
I don't know what's going on here. Something weird's happening. Is this thing live?
Well, it is. It doesn't look like we're having fun, Mayor. Well, let's go ahead and get on with the State of the City. We're just kidding, folks.
The first virtual State of the City address. Welcome. And welcome to this new kind of State of the City. You know, the COVID-19 pandemic has changed a lot of the ways that we're doing things, and this virtual State of the City is one of those such things. So we'll be doing this virtually rather than a big meeting hall with 400 or 500 people, but in reality, we hope we reach more people than we have in the past.
We want you to know that our city team has been working harder than ever before. They're dedicated, they're here providing services, sometimes in different ways than we ever have before. We may have reduced hours at City Hall, but our people are on the job, some working remotely, others working out in the field and helping our community. We've been focused on being safe, keeping our community safe, being resilient, and being adaptable to the ever-changing circumstances. Some of our services have been adapted in many ways. Let me talk just briefly about some of the key areas. Public safety. Our folks remain on the job. We're working hard. Police and fire are doing their jobs. We've added additional patrols in our neighborhoods to show additional presence there. We've moved from 8 fire stations with the addition of 5 satellite locations to spread our apparatus and our staff teams out further to keep them safe and keep the community safe from community spread, but to maintain those same levels of service. Our development and inspection activities continue. And in fact, April of 2020 was stronger than the year before. We continue to provide services. You can pay your bills to us online. We've eliminated credit card fees, and that will stay that way. We've also eliminated late fees, and you can call our utility customer service area at 615-794-4572 if you need to talk about a rate adjustment or a bill adjustment. We will spread your payments out. Our frontline folks are authorized to set up to a 90-day payment arrangement for you if you need help there. And if you need to go longer than that, we can work on that as well. Our city court has been suspended, but we'll start our first virtual city court services on May 19th, so you can look for that. Sanitation, those services have continued as well with a few modifications. We've had to suspend our curbside recycling service. That's because the services that provide the sorting of those are done through a partnership with Marshall County that uses inmate labor. And unfortunately, those folks aren't able to do that work for the time being. So once that's reinstated, we'll be back in doing residential recycling. We do ask that you restrict small curbside brush pickup during this time, but we're still doing large scale, and you can put it in the brown bags and we'll pick it up. So again, our team is out there serving and making sure the community is staying safe.
Well, I'm truly amazed how our city and our community have come together in this very difficult time. Let's take a look at some of the things that have happened.
The City of Franklin has been a shining example of how a community can come together during a crisis. Our city and county schools have distributed laptop computers for students to further their learning opportunities. Franklin Special has handed out over 70,000 meals, and Williamson County Schools have given out more than 150 tons of food to families that rely on school nutrition programs. Other community organizations have also stepped forward to help those in need, like GraceWorks, United Way, One Gen Away, and many others. Many residents who have lost jobs or are on furlough rely on these organizations for food and other needs during this time. Neighborhoods are working together to create and connect with one another with birthday parades for those of all ages, uplifting sidewalk chalk art. Many in our community are sewing and donating masks to hospitals and emergency responders. Restaurants have done their part to revise their services and offer expanded curbside pickup and delivery. Churches are providing virtual worship services, and healthcare providers are stepping up and providing assistance for those in need through virtual appointments. Through this all, the city recently received the exciting news that Franklin is a finalist for the National Civic League's All-America Cities Award. This prestigious award dates back to 1949 and recognizes excellence in community engagement and highlights great work being accomplished in communities that can come together to solve problems. Franklin was nominated through a partnership between Franklin Tomorrow and the City of Franklin, but is representative of efforts from across the community by numerous organizations and citizens.
It's really good to see those examples of our community coming together. We also want to wish a local nonprofit, Franklin Tomorrow, a happy 20th anniversary. Franklin Tomorrow is a nonprofit in our community whose goal is to involve the community, foster collaboration, and advocate for a shared vision for the future of Franklin. We're so blessed to have such a wonderful community partner in Franklin Tomorrow.
You know, Mayor, our business community has certainly been hit hard by the pandemic and the resulting economic downturn. You know, our Chamber of Commerce, Williamson Inc., and the Williamson Convention and Visitors Bureau has been working closely with our businesses, our attractions, our hospitality industry to respond to this pandemic. We're now joined by Matt Largent, the CEO of Williamson Inc., and Ellie Chin, the President and CEO of the Williamson County Convention and Visitors Bureau, to talk a little more about that situation.
Welcome, Ellie and Matt. And Matt, I have the first question for you. Given that we've been in a state of emergency and had a stay-at-home order, we realize that it's affected our businesses severely. How has Williamson Inc. been working with businesses during this time?
Well, thank you. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for having me and letting me have this important conversation. I'll first start by saying the partnership we have with you, with Ellie, the Williamson County Convention and Visitors Bureau, makes all the difference when it comes to meeting the immediate needs of our business community. So when this pandemic first started, we started by calling every one of our members and asking two questions. How are you doing and how can we help? And we also sent out a survey and found out exactly what the needs were of our business community. And we learned it was access to capital, and it was things like rent relief, utility relief. And so we actually converted one of our team members into an SBA caseworker, and he's been working with 50 or 60 businesses and helping them apply for the Paycheck Protection Program, which is a program SBA put out to help companies really thrive and survive during this time and also keep their employees. And so we know, based on some research we just received, that businesses across Williamson County and Franklin did a pretty good job receiving this money, especially the small businesses. The average award we learned was about $100,000, and it ranged anywhere between $8 million and about $5,000. So what we've been doing is really helping companies meet their immediate needs, and that's cash flow, that's rent relief, and eventually will be bringing customers back in to where they feel comfortable and safe shopping and dining in Williamson County again in Franklin.
Well, we're in the phase of reopening now. And how are the Franklin businesses adapting to this staged reopening?
Right. We've seen a lot of innovation from our business community, whether it's companies outside of restaurants doing curbside pickup, or it's a lot of our members that are providing their services online through counseling centers and other different businesses. So we've seen a lot of companies innovate when it comes to how they deliver their goods or services. And that's been incredibly important. Like I said, at the end of the day, what businesses need are customers. And our job is to help them deliver customers in a safe, thoughtful, careful manner as we tend to reopen. And I will say, I think for those companies that are members of Williamson Inc., they were better prepared for this, and they had access to more resources during the pandemic. And our goal has really been to help, again, meet businesses where they are, but also give them the tools to plan for the future.
So Ellie, talk to us about the hospitality industry. We know there's been major impact on hotel room nights, on conferences that have been canceled, lots of different businesses that have been significantly impacted. Talk about how it's affected Franklin.
Absolutely. So one of the ways that we measure hospitality in our community is by hotel occupancy. How many rooms are booked in our county day in and day out? To give you an idea, last week, our occupancy was 24%. The same week last year, our occupancy was almost 80%. So we have taken a big hit in the hospitality industry. We have gotten over 400 meetings, events, and sports tournaments canceled. We've tried to postpone some of those and move them to different dates where we could, but the impact is big. And just to explain a little bit about what that impact looks like, in 2018, we had 1.72 million visitors come into Franklin and Williamson County. They spend on average every day in our community $1.31 million. So when they come in, they spend, they shop and they dine and they go to our attractions and so forth. And that saves every household in Williamson County $523 a year on their own personal taxes. So not having these visitors come in to spend this money is hurting our impact overall of tourism for our community.
So despite those challenges, the hospitality industry, the hotels and restaurants in particular, have still stepped up to help the community, whether it's essential workers, folks experiencing homelessness, folks who may need to isolate because of concerns around spread within their family or their household. Talk about that as well.
You know, Eric, the beginning of this outbreak was really difficult because it was daily that I was hearing from multiple partners that they had to close their doors or they had to lay off people or they had to furlough. So everybody's been in, looking at their own business and how they were going to survive. But I will tell you that when the call was put out that we needed a hotel to help us out with our homeless population, or if we needed a hotel with to help with isolate families if they've gotten, the virus and so forth, they stepped up. Every time, every call I made, I said, I know that you guys are in dire straits right now, but can you help with this? And they said, yes, we will help with that. The restaurants have done phenomenal work especially with like our senior community. We got the call that there was a lot of our seniors that couldn't go out and get food. They're one of those categories that could be vulnerable. And so we put the call out to our restaurants and boy, they stepped to the plate. So it's just been really, what a wonderful thing that they're in such a difficult shape right now with their employees being laid off and so forth, but they still were willing to step up and help.
That's great. So let's talk about moving forward. What's the plan to bring people back, visitors back to our community?
Well, we researched and did a survey with our retail and our attractions and our restaurants and said, what percentage of your business on average is visitors versus resident? And on average, about 50% of their business comes from tourists. So it's important that we get those tourists back, not only for the impact that they make, but they help keep our small businesses open and healthy. So we are going to kick off our phase 1 plan, which will be later this week, early part of next week, which is we're going to ask you to vacation in your own backyard. So we've all been home for a while. You know what? Book a hotel room and go out and have a weekend away with your family or your friend or whomever that might be. Go out to dinner, maybe go over to Carton or one of our distilleries and take a tour. So that's going to be phase 1. Of course, we want to do this in a safe way when people feel comfortable to do that. We have asked our hotels for a special staycation rate. So probably early part of next year, if you go to visitfranklin.com, you're going to be able to get a special rate on hotels to come out and do a little staycation. Phase 2 will be the drive market. And what that means is those communities that are within 300 to 350 miles of us, we know from our research that visitors are going to be pretty hesitant to get on a flight, but they are not going to be hesitant to get in their car and drive somewhere for a long weekend. So we're going to promote really heavily to our drive market, which includes Atlanta and St. Louis and Knoxville and Memphis and Asheville and so forth, and get that drive market to come in and see us. And then phase 3, we'll go to pre-COVID marketing. So now we're back to our national marketing to some of those big areas that come see us on a pretty regular basis. So we are really excited to kick off these phases. And as much as we were trying to be a good resource for all of our business partners, our job is to sell and market Franklin and Williamson County. So we're excited to get back to it, invite those visitors back in and recoup some of those lost sales tax dollars from the virus. And so obviously there are going to be many things that determine those stages, and we're going to just kind of go by those benchmarks as we continue to open up our visitor, inviting our visitor back in. But I will tell you that if I had to go through a pandemic, which I did, I'm so grateful to have done it in this community, because not only have our hospitality partners really stepped to the table, but working with the city and working with Williamson Inc. and a lot of different partners, I think is going to put us in such a better position to come back from this than maybe some other communities.
Well, Ellie and Matt, thank you so much. And we really enjoy that partnership we have with both of your organizations. So we're going to take a break now. And when we come back, we're going to be speaking to Kathy Montgomery, the head of the Williamson County Health Department.
Thank you to all the people on the City of Franklin team who've done such a good job. And also just to everybody in Franklin that has been trying to work together.
In the grand scheme of things, I think we're really seeing firsthand that Franklin is special and our people are special.
I too want to thank all the city employee and staff that's been out there every day keeping our business going. And not only the city, we have local citizens that are working in Walmart and Kroger and the drugstores, and I want to give a big shout out to them.
I'm grateful to all the people in the community that have done the things we needed to have done to get as far down this pathway as we have. The city staff has been excellent.
Welcome back. Joining us now is the director of the Williamson County Health Department, Kathy Montgomery. From the very beginning, Kathy and her team have been on the front lines of our community's response to this pandemic. Since this began, the county health department has tested thousands. I think over 5,000 is the number I last heard, it maybe even more. Kathy, tell us what's the latest information that the citizens of Franklin and of Williamson County need to know.
Well, thanks, Eric. And yes, the local health department, we have been on the front lines testing since mid-March, shortly after our first positive case was identified. And we continue to offer testing for our residents. People with this virus have had a wide range of symptoms, ranging from mild to severe. Symptoms usually appear about 2 to 14 days after exposure to the virus, and may include things like fever, cough, shortness of breath, difficulty breathing, sore throat, and muscle aches. But the CDC recently found that people had other symptoms, for example, like loss of taste and smell, and even some GI problems. So those are some of the symptoms that we have seen around our county and certainly our surrounding counties as well.
Thank you, Kathy. So when and where can Franklin residents be tested, and who should be tested?
Well, residents and even non-residents of Williamson County can be tested out at the Agricultural Center. That's where we've moved our operations. We have testing available Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and it is free of charge. Testing is completed regardless of symptoms. When we first started with testing for COVID-19, we were requiring residents to have symptoms or be symptomatic. But now anyone, even those without symptoms, can be tested. In particular, we're really trying to alert individuals who are either caring for people who are aged or have compromised immune systems, or even those who have the compromised immune systems, to definitely come in and be tested. Persons with heart disease, diabetes, asthma, or other chronic conditions, we're encouraging them to be tested as well. And especially those who feel ill or have the symptoms like we mentioned earlier.
All right, thank you. So is there any word or update you want to give us on antibody testing and contact tracing becoming easier in the future? What do you foresee there?
Well, we haven't received guidance yet from the state whether antibody testing will be made available through local health departments. Right now, the test that is available through every county health department in the state is just the test to determine whether or not you have the virus. We're also, right now, the health department is continuing to do the contact tracing on all positive cases. So I think it's important for the listeners to understand that when a Williamson County resident tests positive for COVID, that a representative from the health department actually will contact that individual to report their results, to let them know that they're positive. And then we go through a series of questions that we ask them to determine with whom and how many other people that positive person has come in contact with. So for example, we may ask them questions about who lives in their household, where they're employed, or other contacts they might have been in touch with. And we consider contacts, according to the CDC guidance, to be anyone that had direct interaction within 6 feet of that person for at least 10 minutes or longer. So persons who test positive are going to be asked to quarantine at least 10 days, and they must be without symptoms for at least 72 hours before coming out of quarantine. If a person is a direct contact to a positive case, they're going to be asked to self-isolate for 14 days and monitor themselves for signs and symptoms. So as things start to really open back up, we don't see contact tracing getting any less difficult. It's probably going to get a little more difficult because people are going to be social gathering and so forth. So while there's still no vaccine available for the virus, we do continue to ask residents and the community to continue to wash your hands frequently. That is so important and so key to keeping the spread from occurring. Avoiding close contact and social distancing, wearing a mask when you're out in public, staying home if you're sick, and clean and disinfect those high-touch surfaces in your home and at work. These are just things that are the guidance from the CDC. It's in the governor's initiative and so forth to really help us contain the spread of COVID-19.
Thank you so much, Kathy, for being with us today, but especially the great work you all have been doing, you and your team. It's deeply appreciated. Thank you so much. So now it's over to Mayor Moore with more information about mental health.
Well, staying healthy, particularly physical health, is important to all of us. But our mental health has become much more prominent recently with the COVID-19 pandemic, and also the fact that we've noticed a rise in suicide in Williamson County and Franklin, and also substance use disorder. Last year, I appointed a blue ribbon panel to look into mental health in our community and make recommendations to move forward. Today, we're honored to have Amanda Fisher from the Franklin Special School District. She is a district social worker there, and we have Amy Alexander, who is a co-founder and counselor at the Refuge Center. So welcome, and we're so glad to have you and have this conversation today.
Thank you.
And Mandy, I'm going to start with you if I could. You've been one of the stalwart members of the Blue Ribbon panel since the beginning and have made a lot of contributions, particularly working on our website and resources. Could you comment on this?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know at Franklin Special School District, we put a real emphasis on social emotional learning because we understand that there are certain needs that need to be met before we can even begin to tackle the academic side of things. So my role in that as a district social worker is to help meet the academic needs by meeting those academic needs and the more functional needs too, and that includes mental health. Personally, I use a systems approach in my practice, so I spend a lot of time in the community assessing the resources and cultivating relationships with agencies and businesses. So the panel really found that was very helpful to contribute to the Find Hope Franklin website as far as the information that was put on the website. And so that was helpful. And then also just to help contribute to the conversation about mental health and what our community has to offer as far as mental health support, and where maybe our gaps are, so we can see where this panel best fits in to make the most impact. So I obviously, one, appreciate that you recognized that that was important, and then two, bringing everyone together to push that conversation forward. There's so many different people part of this panel that bring their skill set and expertise, and I'm personally a big believer in collaboration. So I think because of that, we've made some really good strides.
I appreciate your comment about the collaboration, and I found it very refreshing and energizing to see the panel work. Amy, we've received a grant through Vanderbilt University through Franklin Tomorrow for QPR training. Could you talk a little bit about QPR and explain what it is and what your vision is for that?
Sure, absolutely. So the QPR stands for Question, Persuade, and Refer. And it is a free 90-minute training. It is meant for anyone in the community who's interested in learning how to recognize the signs of someone who may have an intent to harm themselves. Those who attend the 90-minute training will learn about the statistics regarding the suicide rate in the state of Tennessee, and they will learn how to identify warning signs and risk factors. The organization that does the QPR training relates QPR to CPR. So anyone who is CPR certified is ready to give assistance in case there's an emergency or until a doctor or other professional helpers can be reached. So the QPR is similar in the fact that no one will walk out of a QPR training without feeling equipped to listen and give assistance to someone in crisis. So everyone will leave feeling more empowered and qualified to offer help to fellow community members.
One thing you once told me is that there's a lot of pain in our community.
That's right.
You identified any long-term goals for mental health needs in our community?
Well, to start with, I would say as a community, we need to better understand the term mental health and to recognize that it's not just bipolar disorder or schizophrenia or major depression, but mental health just means things like anxiety, relational conflicts, grief and loss. These are real life issues that most all of us will face at some point or another. So as a community, we've got to continue to educate and destigmatize. Even before this COVID-19 pandemic, 50 million Americans were reporting that they struggled with their mental health. And now, as a result of this crisis, people are experiencing unprecedented isolation, and they're engaging in strategies to cope that really could be problematic long term. We're seeing excessive technology use, increased consumption of substances, eating more comfort foods, and the implications of all of this, not to mention the possible PTSD as a result of what we've been through, will be widespread. And Mayor Moore, you just referenced this, but the truth is that even though we live in Williamson County, no matter what our job title, our income, or our education, we will all experience pain, suffering, and loss in our life. And we truly have a responsibility to do our own work. One of my favorite quotes is by Richard Rohr, and he says, "The pain that we don't transform, we transmit." So if we don't address things in our lives, we inadvertently pass it on to others. So we really have an opportunity as a community here to get a head start on owning our own mental health needs.
Well, Amy and Amanda, thank you for taking time and being part of my State of the City. I've found several resources that I really like. One where you can text 741-741 and have a confidential conversation by texting and get some referral. And of course, www.findhopefranklin is the website for our Blue Ribbon panel developed. So we're going to finish up here, and we're going to come back after a short break, and we're going to talk about budget and how the COVID pandemic has affected us with our budget. Welcome back. We've really had some good years for the past decade, but there's no doubt that this pandemic has affected us in a significant way economically. Eric, let's talk about the numbers.
Sure. We've just put out our proposed budget this week, and we want to try to build a budget among some very uncertain times, but our goal is to maintain services and put our community in the best position we can to respond to what might come forward with the pandemic, but also as the economy begins to revive, that we're here to take advantage of those opportunities and continue to be a very successful, vibrant community. So there are a couple key things I want to touch on. First, the big picture numbers. Our all funds budget has been reduced by just over $18 million. That's a 10.5% reduction. It's at $154 million. Our general fund budget is similar. It's at being proposed at $70.2 million. That's an $8 million reduction, or 10.2% compared to a year ago. So we've made reductions, but we're keeping staff on board. We're making sure that we're here to serve and provide those vital services to the community. So the budget is balanced. We've got essential services in place. There are a couple key points I want to touch on there. Despite these budget reductions, though, our team is here and serving. We aren't able to give pay increases to our team members, but we'll continue to evaluate that as the year progresses. There are no tax increases or fee increases in the budget overall. We're maintaining one of the lowest property tax rates in the community. The one exception is our water rates. We have a 5-year water rate structure in place, and we do propose that we go ahead and implement that this year, which is a 2.9% increase in water and a 3% increase in sewer. Other than that, there are no fee or tax increases in the entire budget. The final thing is we need to realize that we're still getting more information about the depth and how long the economic slowdown will be. And that will cause us to need to return to the budget probably a time or two during the year. So we need to think of it as a budget in phases. This is what we know right now. This is the budget we can put together. And I would expect in fall, probably September timeframe, we'll be re-examining the budget and maybe making further adjustments. So we'll keep working through it. But the key point is that our budget provides support for vital services to the community and keeps us in a position that we can be a highly competitive and successful community as we come out of the economic downturn.
And we have a lot of projects that we've been working on for several years, and those projects are going to be continuing. So I'd like for us to take a look at those now.
State Route 96 West multi-use trail from Vera Valley Drive to 5th Avenue North. The budget is $5.3 million. This 10 to 12 foot wide multi-use trail is designed to accommodate all users and will connect Franklin's west side to Jim Warren Park and also to downtown Franklin. The proposed construction start date is July 1st, 2020, with completion expected by December 2021. Mack Hatcher Parkway is a state route and a $45 million project of the Tennessee Department of Transportation. The City of Franklin is contributing with about $1.2 million for a multi-use trail to go with this important roadway extension. The city also spent $5 million toward the design and right-of-way acquisition. Construction began in early 2019 with an estimated completion in late 2021. The new roadway from Hillsborough Road to New Highway 96 near West Haven will be 2 lanes and include street lighting, a multi-use trail, and landscaping. This section has also been graded to add a median and 2 additional lanes in the future. Franklin Road Corridor Improvements Project is estimated to cost over $18.1 million. The project stretches from the Harpeth River Bridge in downtown Franklin to Industrial Court, Hooper Lane. The corridor will connect downtown to the park at Harlandsdale Farm and the factory. The entire sidewalk and trail system will then stretch to Cool Springs and Franklin's east side. The roadway will be widened from 2 lanes to 3. with curb and gutter, a bike lane, and includes sidewalks along both sides. The street will be lined with trees and decorative lighting with upgrades to the traffic signals at Old Liberty Pike and Liberty Pike. This project also includes upgrades to the sewer utility lines, stormwater improvements, and other streetscape enhancements. The project is expected to begin in July 2020 and proposed to be complete in December 2021. The water reclamation facility upgrade and expansion project has a total cost of a little over $133 million. Franklin operates one of the best performing wastewater treatment facilities in the state. This project will upgrade and expand the plant based on updated science and extensive modeling of its impact on the Harpeth River. The upgrade and expansion will meet the growing needs of our community and will bring enhanced state-of-the-art treatment technology designed to further reduce nutrient discharge into the Harpeth River. The city was also approved for a $100 million state revolving fund loan to help pay for the treatment plant enhancements at very favorable interest rates, which will save Franklin ratepayers more than $30 million over the life of the loan. The Fire Station 7 project is a little over $7 million. This project will be similar in design to the West Haven Fire Station 8, with an added ambulance wing for the Williamson County Medical Center EMS personnel. This station, located near the Goose Creek Paytonsville exit on Interstate 65, will be the first co-location for the city and Williamson County, and will provide top-ranked fire protection services to residents in the southeast part of our city. The City of Franklin Parks Department is partnering with Franklin Special School District to improve sports fields on FSSD properties and expand the city park system. The total cost for the project is approximately $6 million, with FSSD and the city sharing the cost 50-50. The project will include renovated baseball and softball fields, new concessions, restrooms, outdoor seating for games, but also to double as classrooms. The project will be bid this summer. The Cool Springs Mountain Bike Trails opened in late 2019 and currently is 4.72 acres on property known as The Standard at Cool Springs Subdivision. This trail started with a partnership with the developer Gateway Mosby, Cool Springs, and with Columbia State Community College. Eventually, the Parks Department, working with developers and other partners, plans to expand the trail system over more adjacent properties to cover 8 acres and approximately 4 miles of trails for bikers of all abilities in the next 3 years.
Well, that about does it for our shorter virtual version of State of the City.
And we are glad we could bring this to you virtually and highlight the great work the city is doing, going to continue to do during this pandemic. So until the next time, take care, stay safe, stay healthy.
Hello, Team Franklin. I just want to say thank you for everything you're doing. You're stepping up and you're serving. You're adapting and working in different places in different ways than maybe ever before. But the bottom line is you're doing a great job serving and taking care of the community and taking care of one another. And I'm just so grateful. Thank you for everything you're doing and keep it up.
I realize that right now, a lot of you come to work every day as though it's business as usual when it really isn't business as usual. And I also know there's several of you who have transformed your kitchens so you could work for the City of Franklin remotely. I thank you.
Whether you are on the front line or serving from home, I want to say thank you for your dedication and flexibility in serving our fine community of Franklin.
Just wanted to say thank you to my Public Works and City of Franklin families. You continue to set the bar for getting it right, and can't be more proud to work with a team of professionals as you all are. Thank you.
Rain, sleet, sunshine or snow, and now pandemic, and the Franklin Sanitation Environmental Services team keeps on trucking. We thank you. I'm proud of you.
I just wanted to take a moment to express my deepest appreciation for all of the essential workers in the city of Franklin that keeps us moving forward during this unprecedented crisis that we're in.
Everybody in uniform and everybody working every day in Franklin, we love you, we thank you, God bless you.
I can't wait to see all of you. I miss the employees. I miss our time together, our lunches. Lord knows we love to eat together. But thank you for all that you're doing while you're working remotely, or if you're here with me somewhere in the park system. Thanks for all that you do, and can't wait to see you soon.
A quick shout out to every City of Franklin employee. Thank you for keeping it essential. You are the stuff.
Our city employees have been real troopers during this pandemic. We appreciate everything they've done. Thank you.
I'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you to all the city employees for your service during this pandemic.
Hello, City of Franklin employees. I just wanted to take a minute and reach out to each and every one of you and thank you for the work that you're doing. These are unprecedented times. None of us have ever seen anything like this in our life. None of us ever imagined any of this. But during this difficult time, you've stepped up, you've done your job, sometimes from home, and you've done it so that you've not missed a beat as far as delivering the great services that we're so proud of in Franklin. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, and thank you, and we appreciate you so much. I think that went pretty well, huh, Eric?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Not bad for our first virtual State of the City. Whew.